Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live. Today I'm gonna talk about the most powerful tool in Blender. It's no other than Grease Pencil. Okay, so Grease Pencil is actually really powerful because you can quickly draw anything. You can draw strokes, you can draw all kind of 2D animations because it has strokes and also have animations. But on top of that, if you think about Grease Pencil, it's also something that can be turned into 3D. And I will be using a bit of sketch of nodes, but you can also use curve, whatever. But I like to extend this idea to something like this 3D doodler. It's like a plastic drawing pen that you can use to build something that looks like that's 3D basically. So something like this. It's actually really interesting, and I think I've done this in the past, but Blender is getting more powerful, so you can do more. You can actually make something like this. Even though, I mean, it will be easier if you have like a VR tools, but I'm gonna try this anyway using 2D. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, I don't know why my computer is a bit laggy today. Maybe I should turn it off. Okay, by the way, I might also talk about this ball pen by Kushiro. This is an add-on, costs you like $1 or more. You can give $1 and you're gonna get this tool. It's also really powerful and it's gonna get extended and updated with more features. But this is kind of give me the idea also, similar to what I'm trying to do now. Okay, so let's get started. We have camera and the light. We can keep the default cube. We can use this to do our grease pencil drawing. So grease pencil, blank, draw. Okay, with grease pencil, of course, you can draw on the space, right? You can draw on the space, on the air. It's not very natural. It's looking at this 3D cursor and creating kind of like invisible plane. So I really like drawing with just strokes. And if we move to another frame, we're gonna draw a new frame, and this time I want to draw it on surface. Okay, I was wrong when I talk about 3D cursor. You need to switch to 3D cursor in order to draw it from the 3D cursor pivot. I'm gonna switch to surface. By default, surface, given this offset, I'm gonna make it just smaller number. This gonna, of course, draw on the surface of this box, right? This is nothing new, of course. You can try it yourself. I'm only just gonna draw it on the right side because we can always mirror it. And yeah, nice thing about drawing on the surface, it's following the surface of the 3D objects. Okay, so that's the next thing. Actually, if you want to draw like a leg or something, it's actually, it might seem a little bit tricky, but you can use 3D cursor that's been planted into on the surface of the objects. However, if you want to draw like a leg, for example, if I draw like a spider, if I draw a leg like this and you look at it from the other side, okay, that's actually look wrong. I have seen some VR artists doing their drawings. They actually often very quickly switch to edit mode and then kind of rotate their strokes. So apparently this might be a thing that you can do also with grease pencil. So it's like a little bit like it requires two steps, but it can work. Okay, so let's try. You can of course draw it from plane like this, which is also not a bad idea. Say you are drawing like a character with 3 legs or multiple legs, like octopus or spider. You're gonna be flat. But you can always go to edit mode, and for when you are in edit mode, you can make selections and then tap L and start to move things around to place them correctly. And you can always scale them or sculpt them and reposition them. If you select your objects like this, you can use Command L. It's gonna select all of them that's connected. So that's really cool and easy. And the idea here, of course, I use this thing a lot. You will need stretch of nodes add-on, but if you Shift A and then GP, you can turn this into real objects very quickly. You can join them or keep them separate. So with Mesh Viewer, you're just gonna get edges, which is not a bad thing. You can also use polyline, or in this case, I'm just gonna use skin measure. Okay. And with this guy, we can change this multiplier. Skin measure is a little bit funky sometimes, so the idea is maybe just to use a Blender's own skin modifier. Just merge all these lines so it's become a single line, and you skin it. Yeah, not the grease pencil. You can hide the grease pencil, but this guy, you can just turn it into skin modifier and hit tab, select all, mark root. If you see, okay, they are like the same radius, you can actually, okay, now at this point we can mirror it, right? We can apply everything. Command A, which, oh, my Command A doesn't work. Okay, the data seems to be overlapping, so make it single user first. Now we can Command A. So we can actually work like this and use Blender Sculpt just to add thickness or play around with the thickness of this, because we have inflate. Okay, and this is actually one way to do it. If you hold Control while doing this, you're gonna create less thickness. And this actually, I believe this actually works per objects, or you need to set it up here under brush based on topology. So even though they're, let's say you make radius very big, they're kind of overlapping, but it's only gonna affect the first brush, the first mesh that the brush found. So you can actually do this quite easily. So this is like a semi-procedural. Oh, actually, this is more like manual with a bit of trickery you can use with nodes. So you can have this character that you can join together, and then you can use remesh. remesh modifier and turn it into kind of like a base mesh for your sculpt. There's a so this, based on this idea, you can actually do more. So if we delete our grease pencil, let's try a little bit more. So grease pencil, blank, object, draw. This time I'm gonna draw with stroke placement on the strokes. So this is actually really powerful as well, because you can draw something and the next time you draw, it's gonna place it on the stroke. So if this character, for example, have this hand or whatever, if you rotate around, you can kind of draw branches, because the next stroke placement is based on the previous stroke that it find. Okay, sometimes it floats a bit, but in general it will draw the strokes on top of the other strokes. So let's get back here and select our new grease pencil. And this time, instead of making another mesh, let's see, if I delete all this. So instead of creating this, let's try using polyline viewer. So this will create curve based on this guy. So the curve is actually less twisty, and you can play around with the radius. Once again, with this method, they are separate objects, and you need to turn it into a mesh. So in this case, I can actually don't use polyline viewer. That's from another tutorial. Just use bevel curve. With bevel curve, you're gonna get a result that's actually have cap on the start and at the end. So this can be used like this. So let's use this mesh viewer, and here we need to be careful with the sampling. Yeah, the sampling number needs to be really high, but we can always resample it again over here and change the radius. And you get the result. Usually with the radius, I make it really small. So if, for example, this character have a lot of fingers have the smallest radius, so we can work from there. And this is already merged into a single object. The steps, okay, just make it 24. So we are happy with this. We're gonna save very quickly. This is grease doodle. So this becomes like a volume, and you can merge this with this guy, and again just do another remesh. Okay, but again, even with this one, you can already sculpt and use this inflate to further, add details to your sculpt. With things like finger, you can taper the end part. So for example, so that's really the basic idea. At this point after your sculpt, be careful you need to turn off live, so you can further sculpt and then just merge this with this guy, and then just do the mirroring. Yeah, so that's really the basic idea. And on top of that, if we actually I want to show you the doodle thing. This ball pen add-on by Kushiro is actually another things that you can use to extend before you actually use Blender on 3D sculpting. Because this thing with this thing you can add details simply by using strokes. For example, with this character, I can just go to tab, I hit tab in edit mode, and I can right click and start using the ball paint. So ball pen, the way it works is, okay, there's this hint. Let me type this thing first. Let me hit escape. Okay, go to edit mode, right click, ball pen, left mouse button to draw on any surface. Okay, that's just like the, it's actually looking at the normal of the polygon, and you can start drawing from there. And it's also guesstimating the depth. Control left button to snap. Okay, control left button to snap. If I use the snapping, it's gonna draw on the surface of the objects. This is also pretty handy. If you want to change the size of the brush, on the Mac it's a Control Shift and then just scroll. So with this you can really make a quick doodle. This is actually quite very powerful tool if you use it maybe with a grease pencil also, or just using it as it is. And once you're done, you press Q to confirm. Okay, Control Z to undo. You have this, and if you merge everything together, then it can be like the base mesh. So that's basically the idea. This is what I want to show you. My computer is a bit slow today, but you get the idea. So 0.02. Okay, and then you can do decimated. So this is everything, like this is like 3 tools working together. You can also use skin modifier, of course, on top of this, but I think grease pencil and this Kushiro ball pen, grease pencil, ball pen working together with help of nodes could be something, you know, like a way you can quickly create a base form for your 3D sculpt. I haven't I've only figured out this the other day, so I think we can try to extend this idea. Usually with the remesh, you can always mirror and using the bisect as well, so you can create a really strange character very quickly. Yeah, something like that. Anyhow, so yeah, hopefully you find this useful, this idea. Again, this ball pen is a paid add-on, but it's really worth it. It's only $1 US, and also, yeah, Kushiro made other tools. But I talked to Kushiro. I think the grease pencil and your ball pen can be very powerful combination. So maybe instead of using sphere chalk, we can just turn grease pencil into balls like this, and just to remesh our objects. yeah, maybe it's gonna be Blender's built-in tools in the future. But yeah, hopefully you find this interesting. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.